for the slightly late start. I blame Judd. Completely blame Judd. No, I'm
It's
just
all
kidding.
me.
I'm just kidding. I was running late, and then Judd was having camera issues, so it happens. But good morning, everybody. As you come in, say hi, say good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Wonderful thing about our hobby people are everywhere. So, Jeff, good morning. Mm. It was unseasonably warm here in Minnesota yesterday. It was in the 70s. And apologies if I'm a little tired, guys. I worked last night. Um, Worked till 2 in the morning. I left a little early, so then I got a little bit of sleep. Then I got to go to work again tonight. But I want to do the
Woo.
show. I want to do the show. It's a lot of fun, and I don't want to miss it. Especially we only do it every other week. And since Judd, I missed you 2 weeks ago since you were out sick. Feeling better?
Oh yeah.
Feeling
As
better?
a
Feeling
Kansas
better.
ragweed, Wichita is
Oh,
one of the worst cities in the country for allergens, and I've been fighting ragweed for a month.
oh.
So, finally got bronchitis from it, got some medicine, worked, then I was allergic to the medicine. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's been fun, but yeah, I've been coughing my full head off for a month. So finally, today's like the first day where we get low allergens for ragweed.
Yep, good, good. I may not be as bad as you, but so two weeks ago when we had the show, I was super sick or pretty sick with a cold. I still have a tickle, so I'll try to mute it, and if I have some cough and fit. But that's pretty basically it's everything else is good, but I'll just suddenly randomly uncontrollable cough for 30 seconds, and then it'll be there for a few minutes, and then it'll go away. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd been coughing so much during that program. So yeah, I just got in the chats and just then you couldn't hear me hacking.
Yep, exactly. Paul, good morning. He says from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Rob, good afternoon from the UK. Afternoon. That's what I said. It's morning here, 9 a.m. here for me in Minnesota, um, and Judd, you're 9 a.m. right? Yeah, you're still Central.
Yeah, or Central.
Yep, yep. And then obviously we got afternoon in the UK, and yeah, all over. So
Are you able? I can't see any of the chats, or is that just something only you have as the rulers for
I
pain?
have the chat. And excuse us, folks. We're both new to this software, and we're working our way through the bugs, and so we're just learning it as we go here a little bit. Um, Judd, do you see us some icons on the right? Is there one that says chat to the far right?
I see a studio chat, and then I see one at the bottom that says
So
chat
there's
colon.
live stream chat. You see one that says live stream chat?
No, I just see. Oh yeah.
Click
Aha!
that one, and
Success.
now you
Scrum
can see.
block.
And now you can type in there. You can feel free to type messages, respond, whatever. So, um, Christoph, hello from Belgium. He says, "Well,
Oh,
good
Valley
morning,
Forge,
good
man, I'd love to go there, but I'm an American Revolution nerd, so.
afternoon." Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I played too many more games. I'm a little nervous about going some places.
Oh yeah, you've been to Wilson's Creek. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I
Yep,
say,
yep.
man, you get a chance to go to Gettysburg. That's something else.
Oh, there's a lot of American Civil War battlegrounds I'd love to see. So yeah, Wilson's Creek was really cool. It's really cool when you go down in there and you go down like kind of in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a unique situation, even for the area having that valley kind of out of nowhere
Yeah.
for because you get into the Ozarks and you get into the mountains, but then west and north of that is more plains, and so that's kind of weird that suddenly it's like, oh, here's like this valley with a river, a stream. It's like a big stream or a tiny river going through it. But all right, good morning again, everybody. Let's see. I'm gonna send out this link, and I'll probably see if I can get it going here. And I'm sure I'll provide it later, and I think it's in the video description. So this is what we're gonna be looking at today. So this is a solitaire survey of war and historical games that Armchair Dragoons and Beyond Solitaire does every year. And this is the 2025 edition, just came out. Um, Jeff says, every time I go to Gettysburg, I see and learn something new. I can only imagine. Yeah, I would love to go one day. I'm living in the Midwest. It'd probably take a little while to get. Like I'm not gonna be able to go out there a bunch, so I gotta make the most of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Make the most of the trip. But anyway, that if you guys that link, that's where the survey is. So the survey, like I said, it's yearly from them. It's of their people, so it's not of them deciding what's the top, right? It's of the people that read Armchair Dragoons and watch, Liz from Beyond Solitaire, her videos, read her stuff. So there's definitely, I will say, like their audience is flavored more heavily historical non-war game than just like a war game centric. So you're gonna see some games on the list. I mean, there's a lot of war games on the list, a lot. But every now and then you're gonna see one and you go, well, that's not a war game. Let's keep in mind it's wargaming and historical gaming. So,
Yeah, they put a link on. They put a comment down there that they don't want to deal with the ever ending. Is it a war game or not?
yep. So they just
But
say,
but they said
yeah,
at the same time, so they left it pretty loose. But they said they're not going to. They'll probably reject Ticket to Ride, even though there's a historical context in there, and
yep.
they specifically banned fantasy and sci-fi. They wanted historical
Oh, okay, that's yeah. See, and
or
I feel
realistic, not I guess not alternative historical. Futuristic,
yep.
possible historic, but.
I think I feel like the previous years they did allow fantasy and sci-fi. I think they did, but then so they banned it this year, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But they
All
did
right.
allow the next war games, which is odd because that's not historical.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
what
don't know.
hadn't happened could happen, but
Yeah.
I mean, in the case of Gold Strike, you had it played both ways,
Hmm.
possible, and then he made an expansion where it really did happen. I think he also had the Iran-Iraq war in there originally too. So that's old victory game. That dude is a beast, but it's a pretty cool game.
See, I haven't played a lot of the older games. I got it's for me. I'm called to the new baby, so I'm all like new games that are coming in. Like I just played, and I'll have a video going up. I played Astra Titanus, and
The
yeah, I
Victory
know you
Point
love.
game,
Yeah,
or oh, I thought
yeah.
maybe somebody. Man, I sold my copy when Vic Worthington announced that they were working with
They're
Chris.
gonna redo it, and
Then they're not.
then said never mind. Yeah,
And I
with
was like,
the
dude, that's the company. They should not have led with Imperial Stars. Nothing against that game. I have it. It's great. But Victory
yeah,
Point had made a Gold Banner edition, so there wasn't a ton of upgrade in there.
yeah,
But Astra was the one game screaming by them, this needs an upgrade.
yeah. I wonder if, and not to get too deep in the weeds on this, but I wonder if that game wasn't as successful. Imperial Stars 2, right? That's the one that they like
Yeah.
deluxified and released. I wonder if it wasn't as successful, and that's why they said, "Oh well, can't really do these other games." I just feel like they should have done. I mean, there's a bunch of games. Was it all Chris Taylor's they were looking at
Yeah.
doing?
Well,
Is that what it was? Yeah,
not his Nemo, because that one's Victory Point held on to that one.
yeah,
But
uh,
but yeah, I even wrote Grant when it happened. I said, hey, I don't know if this was what you were wanting to be, but I even told him, I said, Victory Point made a really nice gold banner. I said, but Astra's really the one you need. I
yeah,
said, people have been clamoring for it for years because it was such, cheap desktop quality old Victory Point games. And they had so many cool ideas going with that. So,
yeah.
man, I wish I already mentioned just looking for another person. I wrote him and said, hey, you ought to look at Blue Panther, but you won't get the sales with Blue Panther, but they'll do the quality for you.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'd like to see. So I like I said, I played it and I'll have a video up, but it's the quality is not not great. It's okay, but there's definitely. I mean, it's an old Victory Point games, and it's almost like even a slightly nicer than some of them. Like I don't know what it was. I saw a video. I just wanted to see what other people were doing with the game, and he had like little cards, and
Hmm.
mine are full like poker sized.
Wow. Okay, you got a newer. Somewhere along the line, they flipped their cards because
Must be a
mine was the tiny
newer
ones.
printing or whatever. It's like I don't know, newer edition, but at least a newer printing. So yeah, it's full size poker size cards. They still sleeved them because they're still crappy quality, but
Yeah. I
uh,
had a copy of the Lost Cause and the expand. I bought the expansion at BGG Con, and what was funny was the original game had the tiny cards, and the
yep.
expansion had the big cards.
Oh,
So
I had Lost Cause. I liked it when I got Jeff Davis. That superseded it, and I said, "Sorry, Lost Cause, you got to go." So I got rid of it.
I heard
Took
that's why Ben
advantage of
made
the
that because he was so disappointed with what that had.
yeah. I had to take advantage of the secondary market and somebody who wanted it for probably 70 some bucks. I'm like, oh yeah, you can have it for that if I have a game that replaces it anyway.
Yeah,
So
that was
more
my
money
thing
for
on
more
Astro.
games.
Was I struck while the iron is hot? As soon as I heard Worth and do that, I was like, this is as high as Astro's value will ever be. And I didn't get
Yeah,
that much. I might have got like 30, $35 for it. But I
yeah.
thought, I can wait a year or so till Worthington kicks it out. It's going to be so awesome. And then when they did that, I was just like heartbroken. I was like, oh man.
No, I saw that news just literally when I went to play this one and record the video and all this. I'm like, wait a second, I didn't know, I didn't realize. Like I'd seen the announcement they were going to do it, and then I started setting this up, and I'm like, this will be fun, and then I can compare the new one when it comes out, and people can see the difference. Oh wait, never mind. But
Yeah,
so yeah,
Forlorn Hope was another that they should have done for ahead of it. That's like if you don't want to play a Space Hulk type of game and not go spend $150 on it and paint
yeah.
miniatures,
I'll say that one's like a squad one, right?
yeah,
Squad. I haven't played it yet. I do have it on my shelf. I got it. I feel like I got both of those either in Upset or a while
yeah,
back, and I for not too much money at all. Yeah, I think Rec kind of when I started. I think because I was looking at small games when I started. I just never got it. I think I looked at the Forlorn Hope, and I was like, oh, it's quality, component quality. You know, again, being cult to the new for me, I was like, components have kind of always been a big thing where they've generally always looked good. Most of the games I've played, in high quality too. So when I see a game like that, I'm like, oh no, this doesn't look, just now. But I've now learned gameplay isn't necessarily tied into those components,
yeah.
So
Victory Point had a lot of really good games when they came out. I think the problem was they pushed them too fast and then didn't quite have all the development in there. But boy, some
yeah.
of those old ones are really, really good.
Christoph setting up scenario 6 from World at War: Blood and Fury.
Oh, I was trying to figure out. I was like, Washington's War? No, there's no scenarios in that one. Blood of
Yep.
what?
So I covered the was it blood is Blood and Fury the newest release, or is it's got to be, right? Because what's the other one that came out a few years ago?
Hmm.
I can't remember, but anyway, I had that one from a few years ago, and really enjoyed it. Definitely though, like Lock and Load, and I like a lot of their games. They're definitely like they don't hold back with like rules and special rules. And yes, they do those like really like kind of overproduced rule books with lots of pictures and sidebars and stuff. So like they'll have like 120 page rule book. Complexity is not really 120 pages in their games, but it's definitely not a light game. Like
Yeah.
none of them are. I'd heard things about Nations at War. That's what it is. So Nations at War, I'd heard that was pretty simple. Well, World at War, it may not be ASL, but it ain't simple. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that right now. So it takes once you got to stay up on it, and because I did some videos on it, the World of War World of War, and I had a lot of comments on like, well, you missed this, you missed that, you missed that. I'm like, I try my best out here,
Hmm.
but I wasn't a World at War player in the sense I just played through all the scenarios. I played that not game nonstop. So because of that, I didn't know some of the rules, nuances that if you're like a lifelong player, you've been playing it for years, you're gonna know. So this is one of those types of game systems. Like I'm not gonna say it's a lifestyle game, but you definitely want to put some time into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh, not that one. It was Storm in the Gap. That's the one I had played and I showed up on my channel. So
Okay. I comment for Jeff on there. Wayne and I would both highly recommend Jeff Davis. If you never got the Lost Cause, don't worry about it. Get Jeff Davis instead. Way, way better game. Doesn't play in like an hour and 50. It's going to be like a 3 hour game, but it's much, much richer. And you won't have your generals hyperspacing around the map like that always bugged me in the game.
yeah, yeah. No, get Jeff Davis, and it's also not too expensive coming
Yeah.
from White Dog Games. So Jeff says every rule on its own is simple, but it has 100 rules. Yeah, at least. So exactly. Seemingly not a difficult. Talking about World at War, that system seemingly not difficult. It's very much like, oh look, the count, all the values are on the counters, and everything you need for different types. So you don't even have to check the rule book for the rule. You just check the counters, and you can know what to roll, how many dice to roll. Not really, because there's going to be variables. There's going to be rules for terrain. There's going to be rules for line of sight. There's going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And figuring line of sight in tactical games is probably my least favorite thing about board wargaming. I love board wargaming, obviously, right? And I don't plan to ever stop. But there's something about like figuring line of sight. It just bogs everything down when you're like really have to do it constantly. Opportunity fire, things like that with those tactical games. it's just hard to do solo for me. So, all right. Well, let's. We got a few people on. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this list running here. So let me see if I can set this up, guys. We'll start looking at the Solar War and Historical Gaming Survey 2025. All right. All right, folks. Are you? Hang on. Let me see if I can. You folks able to see the screen, see the actual survey? By the way, when I put the link in, I'll put the link in again. If anyone wants to check it out themselves, they haven't yet. Into the chat. There we go.
I don't know. Will links show up in the chat on the side?
Should. I did earlier. I don't see it right now.
Now let's see if I can get her.
What the
Oops.
heck? There we go.
Oh, there you go.
All right. There's
Yeah,
the
that'll
link.
work.
No one wants to follow along there. Otherwise, hopefully you guys can see it on the screen. Oh, there was a way to, man. Oh well. Just comment in the chat if you're not able to see it. But anyway, so they every year they do a survey. It is war and historical gaming. So you're gonna see games on here that are not war games. They're not. We're not gonna argue about the definition because I think we'll understand what war games are. It's like I like to quote the Supreme Court many decades ago when they made their ruling on pornography. When the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said, "I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it." And I think we all feel the same way about war games. So while, let's take a quick little look. For instance, when number 1 here, Fields of Fire Deluxe Edition, we all understand that's a war game. When you see votes for women later on in the list, we understand that's not a war game, but it is a historical game. So we'll allow it. All right. So looking at the list, everybody, this is voted on by people, and there were, let's just be clear here, this was a couple months ago, and Judd, how many people? Oh, 191 people voted.
Yep.
So even in our niche hobby, not a ton of votes, but again, I mean, you are going to see, and the votes are going to be colored by, it's the people who read Armchair Dragoons and who read and watch Beyond Solitaire. So, it's going to be skewed based on their audiences. So it's not going to be exact, perfect sample from the wargaming hobby, but it's still, I've already looked through it. Me and Judd looked through it, and we'll go as far as we have time for. There's definitely some good games on the list. So scrolling down here, and I'll just bring up, we got the top, let's see, go to the top 20 right now. All right. So me and Judd, we talked just shortly before the show on kind of games we played. And I'll say, seeing this list, there's a bunch of games. And I'm going to do, hang on, see if I can get this on here. There we go. I want to see us. I want people to see us while we're looking through. So there are a bunch of games on here I'm embarrassed to say I've never played. So here I thought I was Mr. Solitaire Wargaming, got a channel that focuses on that and all this stuff, and I'm looking at the list. I was like, man, I gotta play some more games. Always an excuse to play more games, huh, Judd?
Yeah. There's some on there I know. I'm not going to argue with it. I just don't really think I'm a solitaire games, but because you can play, I can play any game solitaire, but they put on there, hey, it's whatever you want to play solitaire. So their rules, that's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of big ones, what I call the big ones, like number 1. That's not a simple. That's not a simple one. So yeah, there's a lot of them I haven't played for various reasons, but I've heard of almost all of the ones on there. Not all of the 13 pages, but I looked like the top 100.
Yeah, and we'll go as far as we have time. Won't be able to stay late today, but we'll go through as far as we can, everyone, and we'll just talk about games that we've had, if we have them, if we played them, or if we haven't. If we have, how do we like them, and do we want them? Would we put them out there on the list? You know. And Judd, I don't know if you have a little bit different viewpoint. It's kind of how I'm going to look at them.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So first off, number one rank on the 2025 Solo Wargaming and Historical Gaming survey results: Fields of Fire Deluxe Edition. I think so. I have that on the shelf right now, somewhere behind me here. Right there, maybe. I have never played Fields of Fire, so I was always told, I always read that the rules were a mess and to wait for the deluxe edition. Obviously, deluxe edition is out now, but I've looked at it. I've still read that it's really fiddly, and I haven't pulled the trigger on cracking the shrink and getting it played. I don't really have an opinion on it other than I'd like to play it, but man, I don't know. It just looks like a lot of a game, and I don't know if I'm ready to invest that much time and effort into one single game. I like to play a lot of different games.
Yeah.
Judd, what do you think?
That is, I suspect if I were to play every game on the list, that would be my number one.
You think so?
I have never played it. I don't think I ever will play it because I tried. That ship kind of done set sail about, I don't know. I looked at it because, I mean, I've heard people say this thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But my friend David Janik Jones, I think's his name, on BGG, you know his avatar. If you see him, he's pretty active. You got to see his comment on it. It was so funny. It's like paragraphs long on his rating.
Yeah.
And it's a total love-hate relationship. He'd buy it because it was so phenomenal. He'd fight with the rules. He'd give up. He'd sell it. He'd get it back. Fight with the rules. And I kept seeing the second edition, third edition. I was like, when is Ben going to figure out he doesn't seem to have a gift for writing rules? Some designers just never figure that out. Just give it to
Agreed.
somebody who knows how to do it.
It makes, can be a talented designer and have a great game, but their rules can just be terrible, either teaching or referencing or both.
Yes. I mean, some people got the gift. Volko Ruhnke, the late Chad Jensen, they had the knack. Yep. I mean, I wish Volko would have taught all my college classes just because, wow, it would have been so easy. Because, I mean, I always thought Labyrinth had a beautiful rule book. But, yeah, it's just like, dude, let somebody else do it. You're killing your game. But, and now people said, oh, the rule book's not so hard, just so many interlock. It's like, I don't care. Then when I saw the deluxe edition, everybody's like, oh, it's going to fix it. I'm like, I looked at the rule book, like, man, it's like 85 pages or something. I don't want to read all that. No. I'll wait for Wayne to make a video.
See? And now I'm looking at it going, okay, this is too much, man.
Now, if they made a magic machine, right, a genie that said, I will beam the rules of one game into your head. Pick the game, ASL and all of its expansions. I don't care. Any one game, I'd look at it and say Fields of Fire. Yep. I would love to try it. I've heard it's my life-altering war game, but I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of the point. I got like 250 rules books bouncing around my head. I'm trying to keep them all straight. I was like, plus, if I get and I play it, am I really going to play it enough to justify how much effort I put into it? If I play it 3 times, that ain't going to do it.
No, that's key for me.
And that's one of my problems. It's a phrase Mark Herman says, inch deep and a mile wide, and I'm really guilty of it. You know, I play a game and, I'm going to play this thing 3 or 4 times, and Nick's new shiny toy. You know, usually I'll play it. If I screw up rules, I'll give it another go to play it right. But, you know, like a lot of my solitaire games, I do that once a year thing where I play 30 games in 30 days. You know, that's the way a lot of them hit the table frequently, and eventually I get all the rules down.
Yep.
But that's just one I'm just like, yeah, it's that 10 years ago, if they would have had the deluxe edition, I would have done it and taken it on. Because back then I thought I was bulletproof. I was taking on Gulf Strike and Empire of the Sun, games like this. Oh, I can do it all. Now I'm like, old man, get off my lawn.
Yeah, no, this one. I want this one I've been playing. The little rule book's actually like, you can read it in one evening.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so number 2, another giant of the industry, another big one, as you would say, Judd. You said big ones. These are big ones for sure. Big, popular, talked about. They pop up in everybody's list. Of course, this one we're talking about is D-Day at Omaha Beach by John Butterfield. So the original sort of D-Day at game. I know there's been a bunch of new ones.
That's the original.
That's the original. And Miranda's done new ones for Decision Games. I have not played D-Day at Omaha Beach. I know everybody. I know, boo. Everyone calm down. I haven't played it. That one, I also know that the rules are a little bit harder. Maybe not as much as Fields of Fire, but I also
Wow.
looked at the map before, and all the little dots and stuff on the map and everything. I just look at it, I think I don't know if that looks fun. What do you
It's
think?
okay. The rule. I didn't think the rules were hard, but I always thought Butterfield was a great rule book writer. Um, I had Ambush by him and Hell's Highway. Those were back in his Victory Games days. I don't think I've played any of his stuff since Victory Games because that's this. I didn't think the rules were that hard. The thing about the map, I don't know if they've changed the map with later editions. If you have any color blindness, which is much more prominent in men, that's a game you want to avoid.
Okay.
Unless they fix the maps. If you ever watched the Eurogamers, like Ticket to Ride, they use colors. They also use symbols. Because I have a
Yes.
family member who's colorblind, and we can play with him, and it's like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it has those little colors. So if you're like red, green colorblind, you're screwed. Um,
Yeah. That.
the
Yep.
system is clever. The first time I played it, I loved it. And the weird thing about that game was each subsequent play, I liked it less. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but it was to the point where the last time I played it, I really didn't have any fun, and I got rid of it. I don't know. It's something bugged me. You got all these units on the map, and I can kind of see the distraction. You only get to activate so many of them, so it's all kind of like, well, I got this whole army, and they're all just going to sit still. And I know you can abstractly be saying they're pinned down,
Yep.
but there's rules for all that pinning down stuff like that. So I'm just like it just I don't know. It kind of worked as a game, but it just didn't feel right. I preferred, as far as a D-Day game, Dog Sector by White Dog Games.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's
Yep.
more beer and pretzels,
Yeah. I
and
haven't.
it's got its own faults. I had this whole group of guys, and they're breaking through at one point through the mines and the barbed wire, and all looking like a line of marching ants. Man, they would be getting cut down so badly if
Yeah.
they did that.
Couple
But
machine
hey,
guns to get moved, and it'd just be yeah, they'd be
yeah,
done for.
but hey, only two machine guns can shoot at this group. All the others are out of range, and the artillery fire is completely random. So
Yeah. They
so
don't
you could
concentrate on
house
that
rule it to
spot. So
fix it, but it was kind of more fun to play because you just I don't know, I liked it more. But I don't know, D-Day's just never been a topic that when I play it, I once or twice and I'm kind of done with it. And I'll play D-Day dice because it's just a dice chuck and Yahtzee game.
yeah.
But I don't know, D-Day games just never really captured me. Never been my thing. But that was one I had and played it a few times and ended up getting rid of it. But I see why people like it. But
Yeah,
anyways, like
and that's kind of where I've been at. I just haven't even played it yet. So one day probably, but I don't know if it'd be the type of game I love. So speaking of Butterfield, number 3 on the list, another one that you see mentioned everywhere. This one I actually did own for a time. RAF: The Battle of Britain, 1940. John Butterfield Decision Games. So one that I owned, but I only played it once, and I was very new. This was one of those ones where I was new to the hobby, and I said, "Ooh, look at this one." People are mentioning this looks interesting. I tried playing it and said, "What am I doing? I need to ramp up." And that's probably when I started getting into Victory Point games, their releases, and discovered White Dog games and all those guys. So, and now I feel a lot more comfortable with more heavier rule sets. Obviously, I play Great Battles of History games, but yeah, at the time I only played it once, and I sold my copy. I know they did, I think, a deluxe version a couple years ago,
yeah.
and I'd like to get my hands on that.
I looked at it when I first got back into wargaming, BGG 2009, 10, 11, around there. I think I was going for some money back then. And because back then I was just buying everything, buying way
Yeah,
more than I could play and all that. So never did get it. And Battle of Britain, okay, I owned the Richard Borg game. They made a re-release of it. I think it's called Battle of Britain. It's a two-player game. It's okay. And I looked at that. Then the one that Avalon Hill made, Greg had recommended it in a ham tag video, and I took a look at getting it for a while, and it never materialized. Then I ended up getting a copy of Skies Above Britain, and decided that would be my all right, my Battle of Britain game of choice. It's what the Eurogamers call Jones theory. If you have this is something they do. If you have 5 worker placement auction games and you find yourself going to one, get rid of the other 4. Well, we war gamers are different. Yeah, I have a lot of market garden games, but one's there.
oh,
One might be area impulse, one's hex encounter,
yeah,
one's simple. But there are some times where I see overlap, and I was like, yeah, I kind of got a game. I kind of go solo, so I haven't. it's just not one I've been pursuing since I got Skies Above Britain.
Yeah, no single game on the Roman Empire for me. Trust me, it's gonna be as many as I can get.
Yeah.
So next game on the list, number 4, Pavlov's House. Finally, a game that I've owned and played and I'm familiar with. Pavlov's House, David Thompson DVG. So David Thompson, I'm not gonna say he came out of nowhere, but this was the first game I think was Pavlov's House.
I think it
was the
was.
first one, and in this series, Valiant Defense series, with Vincent Cooper in the chat. You'll be able to talk to that. I got Guadalcanal on pre-order, but Pavlov's House, very States of Siege style game. Much more my speed, my type of game. I've had it. I don't have it anymore, but I mean, I played it. I played it a ton. Beautiful components, beautiful system, very elegant. States of Siege on steroids, right? David Thompson knocked it out of the park with the game and the system, in my opinion. So, it should it be number 4? I don't know, but it being on the list, I'm definitely okay with that.
That's one I've tried to trade for probably for 5 or 6 years. It just did not. I know I missed it when it came out, and tried to work trades, and then I've had a few possibilities, but it was like first edition. I've been trying to figure out what was the difference. I know there's posts, but
Yep.
I never could get a feel. Would first edition be enough, or should I hold out for the second and things like this? But it's always been one on my radar that I like to try out.
Yep, it's definitely, I would say, worth checking out. I think, Judd, I think you'd probably like it. I'm guessing you'd like it.
Do you like it better than the other? What, there's like Postman and something, and
Yeah.
Fort Iger or something. There's a
So I really like, so it's coming up later. I really like Landsworth Ridge. I probably like that more than Pavlov's House. But Pavlov's House it's the kind of the original, so it's also probably the easiest to get into. It's the smallest like map. You know what I mean? It as often happens with series and games, it start to bloat a little bit as designers, and have such genius ideas that they want to add in, but they don't want to take anything out. So then just gets bigger and bigger, and next thing you know, you got this bloated game. I'm not saying it's bloated yet, but definitely Palace House would be a little more on like the hey, get it, set it up, learn it, play it, no problem. Lazarus Ridge, not that it's complex, but a little bit heavier, I would say. So, tied for 4, I guess here. So tied for 4 with Pavlov's House is Comancheria: The Rise and Fall of the Comanche Empire by Joel Toppin and GMT Games. Another one that I have not played.
I have not played any of them. Topics just not really been interested. Nothing against top, just some topics. It's like when you talked about Napoleon. Love Joel Toppin. Think he's a great guy, and he developed Washington's War, so I always have a debt of gratitude to him. But and he was a big influence on my vassal design life. But just never tried them. I heard they're good, but so many games, so much time.
Hey, if anything, Judd, it's look at this list. I'm like, listen, I do feel bad looking at this list of all these top games, based on the people who voted. And like, I haven't played this one. Man, am I even playing war games? Like, what am I doing out here? But there's a lot. There are so many games, even solitaire games, and there's just only so much time. So, you know what? Yeah. I would play similar topic, Plains Indian Wars. I don't know if I recommend it unless there's an updated rulebook. John Paniski, one of those guys who he can design a hell of a game, but he cannot write a rulebook to save his life. There was literally a step in the sequence of play that was missing from the rulebook that allowed you to play it. I had to find it online, like to play the game and to show it off on my channel. So that tells you something about the rulebook on that one. But anyway, moving on. So number 6 then, since the last 2 were a tie. Number 6 is Halls of Hegra by Peter Olson and Tompit Games. Judd, you want to go first? Because I'm about to savage this game. You go ahead.
I'll tell you what's funny before you savage it. You're the reason I got the game. Remember me writing you and asking you about it?
I remember telling you about it.
Yeah, I had because you played, you'd played. I watched your video and I said, this kind of looks interesting. And then I wrote you about it because I had a possible trade lined up. And and I remember I remember you wasn't really enthusiastic, but you wasn't against it. I got it. I tried it. I think Star Wars Rebellion. I got a trade for it because basically the only guy who has that game in only guy who will play that game with me already owns it, so why do I need a copy? So that was about the best trade I could pull. And, you know, that old joke, I don't know why Eurogamers think I don't like their games. That is worker placement. There was once a time in Hamtag, I'll give you a little background story.
Yeah.
Bart was wanting to do a top 5 worker placement. So I looked at the list of BGG because I thought I had a game that was worker placement, and it's like, no,
Mhm.
no, no, that's not. Eurogamers. No, that's not worker placement.
Yeah.
I looked at the BGG list of every because you hit a game, it'll show you every game that's categorized.
Yep.
And I told Bart I looked at the list and I only had one game on it I played. It was Puerto Rico, and I said I didn't even like it.
Yeah.
So kind of killed that idea. I was like, well, don't play it.
It's
Don't want to play it.
no that mechanic's in there. It's in
Yeah, and I
along
thought,
with
well,
15 other mechanics. But yeah, go ahead.
but yeah. So I played that. That was worker placement. I thought it was a fun game. It's a very hard game. I've heard that about that game, brutally hard. Um, the wood pieces are corny. I mean, sorry, Martin Wallace, if you're watching, but I'm sure he is. But I pulled out my Memoir 44 pieces because I thought
Oh,
their artillery looked lame and their soldiers looked lame. So I pulled that Memoir because I wanted because that theme's important with me.
yep.
But it was fun. The only thing I come back to was after a while, I got all of these, so
Yep.
many games, so much time, so much shelf space. And it was this is not a game that I see getting played in my 30 games in 30 days. It's a little longer. And it's just, well, it was good. It had a lot of value to it. I knew I could, when I had a game sale, I think I got $50 for it, which was pretty good on the secondary market. But so I ended up selling it. It was a lot of games I've got rid. Most of the games I got rid of, I liked, but I just just somebody's got these guys are going to win the battle.
I get
So
rid of lots of games I like. There's not enough. I don't have enough room in the house. I don't have enough
yeah,
house, and to keep
so
all of them.
yeah, so it's one of those things I tell people it's a great game. Try it out. It kind of shocked people when I got rid of it. Why'd you get rid of it? You liked it. I was like, well, most of my games I get rid of it. I like. So it's one of those. I tell people it's a fun game if you like work, and the theme works. It's not a cornball pasted on theme. You actually kind of feel like you're trying to get the people, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and they're coming for us. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun. It was different. I like innovation and difference. I don't like it just to
My-
be cool.
Yeah.
If it
No.
has some
Well, my turn
historical
now
theme.
to talk about Halls of
Okay,
Hegra.
now
Now
you can bash it.
I'll tell everybody the real story of this game. The real truth about this game. I think Halls of Hegra, and I'm being perfectly honest. Joking aside, I think it's one of the most overrated games I've ever seen. For a game that I've played and then seen on all these top lists, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. I'll give you a few reasons why. And this by the way, this game, just FYI, doesn't really matter either way because I'm never biased. I don't care whether I buy a game or I'm sent it. I don't care. I'm gonna give you the total truth on my channel and my thoughts. Halls of Hegra was one that was sent to me by the publisher as a review copy, so it wasn't even like I bought it and then I was pissed off because I was like, "What is this? What is this game?" They sent it to me. I looked at it. It is one of those ones that, so because of some of the mechanics like the worker placement and because of the look of it, and it's a beautiful game, although I think the map is super cluttered too, and it has all these different mechanics and they're all crammed into the map. It's like, can you just pick a couple mechanics and really and focus on those? Anyway, it's a beautiful game in that sense. Your favorite Eurogamers, Judd, kind of caught sight of this one, caught a sniff of it, and suddenly you had people coming in playing Halls of Hegra and trying to pick it up and trying to get it. And that created hype because also they then sold out the first printing right away, and you had a trick rush to print more. And you got all these people trying to get this game, who are not war gamers. Now that's okay. In fact, it's great for the hobby. But I think it was a bit of a hype thing with this one, where it was scarce. Some people had good things to say, and they couldn't get their hands on it. So then it was hyped, and people started getting in. They're playing some of the same mechanics they're used to, like worker placement, and they loved it. And some tactile, the bigger, the artillery pieces, all the wooden tokens and meeples and crap. Well, the thing is, though, when I really look at a game, and I'm looking at it as the mechanics, does luck compare to player agency? Do the systems work together? Does it make sense? Love the theme. The game itself is a mess, in my opinion, and it's way too luck dependent. And I know luck is one of those things where, what do you mean by that, Wayne? Lots of games are luck. You're rolling dice, you're from combat, etc. Halls of Hegra is not a short game. Like you said, it's not a short game. It's not super long, but it's not short. The entire gaming experience, your gaming experience, is based on how you draw
I was
from
going to do
the
that.
bag. The bag draw at the very beginning in those first few turns. And if you draw poorly and you draw the purple discs or whatever, you're screwed and you will not win the game. So you might as well stop, restart, reset everything, and start over. There's no way to come back from it. I've never seen anyone say they can. So saying a game is hard can be good. Like, it's difficult to win. I feel an accomplishment. I never felt an accomplishment. When I finally won in Halls of Hegra, I didn't feel an accomplishment. I felt like I just got lucky. I got lucky at the first part of the game during the bag draw. So there's another mechanic, right? So they have bag draw. You've got, and it's here, but here's what it was. You're drawing, you're getting your workers, right? Your soldiers, medics, whatever, and you'll have them in your pool and you can assign them. I mean, honestly, with that, the way the luck was, how much it influenced the rest of the game, you could have just rolled dice at the beginning and said, well, you have to roll 4, 5, or 6 the first 3 turns. If you roll 1, 2, or 3, you automatically lose. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
And that soured the entire game for me.
I think if you would have put that part in the hands of somebody like a Mark Herman, they would have studied that out because he's a math guy.
Yep.
You could have done something like you get so many, you draw the chit, you can spend a token, so many tokens to get a redraw. Or just something like that that'll kind of level that out a little bit. But yeah, when I did it, I drew pretty good. And I still lost, but I lasted longer than, I lasted a little longer. I got to the 3rd phase of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I thought the bag draw was cool, but I saw you play it on your video and I was like, man, that's kind of harsh.
Yeah, it was very harsh. And, I'm not a game designer, but there are a lot of things in life, a lot of things with games. I know enough about it to understand. I think the idea that you're supposed to reward players, not harm them. And in my opinion, when you're drawing, blind drawing, because that's what it is, right? It seems cool. Like you're drawing these discs from a bag and they have little icons on them. I mean, you're just blind drawing. It's the same as chip pull or drawing a card and flipping it over. It's just pure luck, right? Yep. Whatever disc you pull out. Well, if you draw, it just feels like you're being punished for being unlucky. It's not you're being punished for poor choices. You're being unfairly punished. And I think game designs that allow you to be unfairly punished based on luck, purely luck. And the fact that it happens at the very beginning of the game, I know maybe it would be worse. You think it would be worse at the end because you worked really hard and you got to the end and luck caused you to lose. But that happens in games where you roll a die, right? That's why I'm like, luck is a big part of wargaming. There's something about Halls of Hegra. I was like, how is this game? Everyone loves this thing. This thing design, it needed someone to fine tune it big time. This game's a mess. And it's just not fun. For me, it's not fun.
This one got on my radar. I never even heard of the game, which I'm usually pretty much in the know on what's going on out there, a follow around. But it was the CSR when they did that first brought it back.
Yep.
And man, you probably remember I caught some flack on that because my beef was that they only put 4 solitaire games on there, and they had like 7 Napoleonics. And I said the message you're sending is that there's only 4 good solitaire games, and they didn't have the one I pointed out was Stalingrad Advance to the Volga. It sold more than like 3 of the 4 games put together.
Yeah.
And I was like, it should have been on there just because of the popularity. And I said, what that tells me, they went for this big cast of, oh, look at our credentialed gamers. But if you're not playing games, well, I picked this 3 that I played, and this person picked their 5. And I said, if you're voting on Solitaire, you should be committed to playing a minimum of 10 games that was published that year, somewhere between like half of the games published or 10, whichever is less, or something like that. That you should be committed to. And if you don't do that, you don't do the Solitaire. And I said it shouldn't be about your credentials; it should be about your gaming. Because I would trust more. I don't care if you have a PhD in history; you're a solitaire gamer. So I think a guy like you should be voting on that. And so when they put it up, it won. So it kind of got on my radar. And when I played it, it's like, well, this is a kind of a fun game. But I thought, man, and I played better solitaire games than this in the last year easily.
Yeah. Yep.
Ben Madison probably made 2 or 3 that were better than that one.
I agree. And so we'll move on here. I don't want to, I had my little rant, but I will say, Judd, since you brought it up, so I will say, in full disclosure, CSRs, they asked me the first 2 or 3 years in a row, that when they relaunched the awards to be on the committee to vote,
Mm-hmm.
and I said I don't feel comfortable that I've played enough games. Which, looking back and seeing some of the people who are voting on these games, it does make me laugh a little bit. Just being perfectly honest, I'm like, well, okay, I've probably played more than many of them. And whether that's good or bad, I've probably played more solitaire war games and more war games in general than a lot of those guys have. But I turned it down because I was like, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable saying, yep, I'm an expert in the field and I
Yeah.
can vote because I played all these games. There's just some people on the committee and God bless all of them who do that work, but there's a few people on their list. I'm like, are you sure you're playing all these games? And how many games
Yeah.
have you really played to be voting on them? Because I play a lot of games because of my channel. I have access to a lot of games. I get sent games. I play a ton of games. I don't know if everyone's playing this many games, even as I do. So, but anyway.
Yeah. When they did that, I thought I wish they would do more topical based. Like if I was on the committee, I wouldn't want to be on the committee. Pretty much all I would do is if they had something with American Revolution or Solitaire, because I was like, I don't play enough Napoleon games. I played like one last year. It's like, well, I'm not going to just say, oh, it's the only one I play, so I'm going to vote. And that happens in a lot of those popularity contests. Like GMT always wins the Golden Geese because that's what everybody's playing and that's what they know and they vote on. And nothing against it. I mean, it's just kind of sick. You should be committed to playing a lot of games in a field and say, this is my fields that I am willing to do this. And I'm not going to vote on, I'm only going to vote on the stuff that I'm willing to commit to a certain, half the games published that year.
Yep.
So that way, at least you have a good spread.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, I mean, hey, I'm glad to do it. It's an award. Yay. It's fun. It lets you put something on your box. But at the same time, I just don't follow it because I'm like, I just follow people who play solitaire games. I'll listen to their opinion. People who play Napoleon or Civil War, I'll listen to their opinions on it because they kind of know what they're talking about.
No, absolutely. Next game, Skies Above Britain, Jeremy White and GMT Games. So weren't you just talking about this one, Judd?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story. When the end of it's cool. When I went through the whole cancer chemo thing,
Yep.
guy over in Europe, he was real bummed. I didn't know him before that, but he was always writing me encouraging stuff. He sends me the game.
Oh, nice.
From Europe. Yeah,
What a nice guy.
Yeah,
and from Europe too.
Yeah, he didn't ship it overseas. He ordered over here, but I was like, wow.
Oh.
Now, when I got off of chemo, I was like, I'm going to get this thing out. Now, what the thing is, okay, don't get cancer. That's my advice. Don't get cancer. Don't do cancer.
Yeah, listen to everybody.
Yeah. Just in case you're on the fence, 0 stars.
Between Judd and my wife's journeys through cancer, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It takes 8 weeks for that stuff to flush out of your system. The brain fog is real. The neuropathy in my fingers were driving me crazy. I couldn't grab big counters.
Yep.
I was wearing gloves all the time because my fingers were tingling all the time. And it was frustrating. So I was trying to learn it, but at the same time, I was getting a little frustrated with it. I was working on certain components of it, and there's great tutorial videos on it. So I played parts of the game. I have not worked through a full campaign of it. But it's that, by that time, I've been sitting out of games for about, 9 months because of that whole thing. And then I was just ready to go. Once that stuff wore off, I went crazy. I played like 101 different games, some of them multiple times that year. And I was just, everything's hitting the shelf. And I was catching up on some stuff. So I haven't got to play the full thing. It's on my list that I put this year on my 12 war games I want to play this year, that challenge I started. So that's one I'm going to probably knock out here in about the next month or so again. Because I do want to play the full campaign because the parts I played of it, I liked it. And it looks good, and the system is pretty smooth.
No experience with it, so I'll leave you. You're the expert on it. So
okay.
Well,
I haven't played the other one, the one above the Skies Above the Reich.
Oh yeah, yep.
But yeah, so when I saw that, I go, okay, that's a Battle of Britain. The other Skies Above the Reich, like, okay, I got B-17, and that always kind of scratched the itch for me when I wanted to do some bombing over Europe. But yeah, this one I was like, RAF. So. Plus, that one guy he just loved it, so he wanted me to try it. So yeah,
cool. No, good. Next on the list, Enemy Action Ardennes. Butterfield makes another appearance. This time from Compass Games, my arch nemesis. No, I'm just kidding. I've never played it.
I made it. I worked on a game on Compass. What are you talking
You did.
about?
That's right. You did. We don't want to start any war in our show. We just started the show. We don't want to have any civil war in the show.
Dude, your video was scream though. I looked at that game and I was like, "Whoa! Threw in the trash, man. That's hilarious."
Oh, that people. I mean, that's. Hey, I've said. I mean, it won me a Charlie. What can I say? It won me a Charlie.
There you
Um,
go.
but I haven't played Enemy Action Ardennes. I owned it for a little while. I did get rid of it. It just it looked a little bit again. Talking about Butterfield, just looked a little bit much. Looking at the map, and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna try some other games, and at this point, I'll probably never pick it up, but maybe I will. Who knows?
That was one that would be next to Fields of Fire, the one that if you could hook a some to my brain and just put all the rules in my head. But doesn't that sucker have like three rule books that are
Three rule books,
huge?
yeah. Well,
Yeah, and
because
I
it's
just
like,
like I don't want to read three rule
yeah,
books. Part of it is just I don't like reading rule books. I like what Jim Crone said: rules are a necessary evil,
yeah.
and the ideal thing is to use the minimum amount of them to be able to play the game, which could be 20, could be 30, but don't waste. But it's just like man, I just don't want to read all that to learn the game.
No, you wanna you've said it before many times. You'll read the rules, and then you'll probably watch a video. Maybe one of mine if it's available, and then at that point you jump in, you start playing, you start learning, right?
Yeah,
So
but then it's a question of, am I going to play this thing enough to burn those rules into my memory? Or if I play it now and then, am I going to have to sit there and learn all three rule books if I pull it out every
yeah,
once a year and play it? And
that,
it's just like, it probably is that good. I've heard great things about
yeah,
it, but it's just one of those, it's it's too big for my britches.
agreed, agreed. Inch, what do you say? Inch deep, a mile wide. That's me
Yep.
in wargaming, and
Mark Herman has lots of cool
I,
phrases when you hear him talk about those. Yeah.
well, genius. But I
Yes.
just don't, and I'm okay with it. I'm pretty accepted at this point in my wargaming hobby slash career. Is that especially because of my YouTube channel, but it's I just don't have the time, energy to dig into a game like that. But speaking of another, so we just looked at Comancheria. This one is Navajo Wars by Joel Toppin and GMT Games. Another one I have not played. I owned and got rid of without playing. I think this is the one I heard was really hard. I can't remember.
I don't know.
I thought one of the two, but anyway, haven't played it. Again, I just looked at it and said, "Ooh, I gotta own this." And after a while, said, "Why do I own this? I'm not gonna play this," and I got rid of it. So
Yeah, but I don't know him. Like I said, topic's never been a big interest, but I love his passion for it, and I love he's
yeah,
introducing people to history they don't know. I
yep,
mean,
yep.
I do that with a lot of war games. That's how I learned them. I start getting this, and it leads me to other places.
So we'll look at the top. We'll look at number 10, and then we'll kind of jump around a little bit so we can keep going here. Just get
Okay.
some few more in before we wrap it up. But another number 10, wrapping on the top 10, Atlantic Chase, Kriegsmarine against the Home Fleet, 1939 to 1942. Jeremy White and GMT Games. Judd, what do you think? Played it?
Don't know anything about it. I've seen the
Nothing.
name,
Yep.
just don't know.
Me neither. Me neither. So out of the top 10, just a quick little, and we'll move on and cover some games. Well, I have only played. This is terrible, and one of them I dislike. I think shouldn't be even close to the top 10. I played one, two, two and a half because RAF I barely played. I played one game of it. I didn't, and I gave up on it. So I played two and a half of these. Judd,
I've played three or two and a half, yeah, because I have played parts of the the Skies Above Britain, but I haven't played the full campaign, which is really I think what the whole game's based around.
isn't that wild? That so I have a YouTube channel. I've been covering Solitaire Wargames for years. Judd Vance, part of Hamtag. Everyone in Solitaire Wargaming knows Judd, and between us, we've only each played two and a half, three games. It's kind of funny. But you know what? It's a good thing. It shows you how many games there are,
Yeah, because
and you know,
I have a geek list I've been working on for a couple years. That and it's basically every year that the Solitaire Guild puts out their top 25 solitaire games. And it's funny, it's kind of like this. It's a bunch of Eurogamers
yep,
and whatever Euro game they're playing, it's not really a solitaire game.
yeah,
And it's like, that's fine, it's whatever suits your boat. I alternate them every year between solitaire only and solitaire and cooperative, because cooperative is basically multi-solitaire.
yep,
And and I bounced around back and forth. And I was sending the guy the note because I said, here, my games need their one vote because I got all these Ben Madison, all these war games and stuff like this that are getting their one vote, and I know it's never going to win, but hey, it gives them some notice. But I have a thing where I'm working on the top 100. So Yeah, I got a lot of solitaire games
Oh yeah.
and solitaire and cooperative. It's just like a lot of the big ones I've kind of strayed away from,
Yeah.
and I'm not
No.
I'm not a big super big Cult of the New guy a lot of times.
Same here, Judd. I can list out. I mean, if I gave you my list of games I played, it's going to be pretty freaking long. Even something I just played at least once, say all the way through. It's going to be
Hmm.
a long, long list. Just not necessarily going to be some of these random games. So Cole Weird, a couple PAX Premier Second Edition, John Company Second Edition, um, 13 Fire in the Lake.
Now that's what's
So
funny on that is, I'm a never been a big coin guy, and but that one that I've held on to that one. I just keep saying someday I'm going to get it
yeah,
because I love the ideas behind it. Greg once said I'm not a big coin guy. He thought because it's a slow, deliberate pace.
yeah,
You see it a hole in your armor column and you exploit it and jump right in and make him pay. This one, you see a hole, it's going to take you a few cards to get there. And he said thinks that's but I have bought the Trongbot. I've bought the online app. I got the second edition upgrade kits. I haven't got the expansions yet, but I keep saying I'm going to get this game sometime. So I haven't given up on it. But
um,
any
yeah.
other coin game, I have zero interest in them. I've played Cuba Libre, didn't care for it. Won it, just didn't care for it.
Red Dust Rebellion. So that was my first coin game, which talk about diving in both feet, deep end. And I covered it on my channel. And actually, one of my let me pull this up. One of my most popular videos. Where is it? Red Dust Rebellion. I know you guys can't see it. That's fine. I'm just pulling up my videos on my YouTube channel, trying to see. Was it my playthrough? I think I had. Of course, they don't show it here. Oh well, I guess only 4,000 views. I've had videos with more, but anyway, one of my more popular set of videos was my videos on Red Dust Rebellion. So I had a blast with that one, Red Dust Rebellion. I've never played Fire in the Lake. I would like a historical coin game for sure. I always avoided coin. Once I played Red Dust Rebellion, I said, "Oh, I want to get a historical coin." So we'll see what I get. It won't be Fire in the Lake, but just because Vietnam War, it's such an iffy one for me that I'm like, I'm gonna fight some good Vietnam War games, but the topic itself is a little uncomfortable. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to dive into that, but
I think that game works super as four factions.
yeah,
Because like Cuba Libre, you got like this mafia gambling guy, and it says you
yeah,
don't feel like you're really doing war stuff. I'm just opening casinos, trying to book
yeah,
Sinatra
like
down here.
yeah,
But
illegal casinos. Oh, cool.
but
Um,
yeah, but that one actually that's really cool that they got the four factions going, and they don't necessarily do work together. The South Vietnamese government, and America just they had their own agendas going on.
yeah, yep,
So
yep,
that's why I sit there and said I love everything about it, just not, and I don't like the king of the hill aspect
yeah.
where everybody turns on the king. So I thought, well, maybe solo will fix that. So I don't know. So like I said, I haven't given up on it. I just keep saying that one. It will click with me. There's been a couple. Hey, I was never a big fan of Combat Commander, and kind of shocked everybody when they showed. It's like, oh, I like Combat Commander now. So,
Yep.
like, but hey, Thunderbolt Apache Leader. Do you play the leader games?
I've absolutely. In fact, I have Fulcrum Leader on my table right now that DVG sent me. So yeah, I play a ton of them. I've covered a bunch on my channel. Judd, you got to pay more attention to my channel.
Well, I'd skip those because I had Phantom Leader way back, and I had Hornet Leader,
Yep. Oh, I
and
love Hornet Leader.
I didn't care for him. And the problem is a me problem. I want to be Maverick. I don't want to be the CAG. I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't doing pilots stress levels and trying to manage that. That wasn't what I was looking for in that game, and
Yep.
but a lot of people love it. I thought Thunderbolt Apache Leader. I had the old GMT one. I thought that was the most interesting of all because the map was kind of more tactical,
Yep.
and because you
Yeah. With you actually have the hexes, and you have to
yeah,
navigate through different
guys are
terrain.
moving back and forth, just not this zone,
Yeah.
move
Yep.
out zone. So I thought it was the most interesting, but even at the end of the day, I go, I don't want to manage people's stress levels.
Yeah.
I feel like a
Yeah.
therapist or something. I don't
I got to
know.
manage my own stress every day. I love them. I love the leader games. Thunderbolt Apache Leader number 15.
A
Yeah,
lot of game for your money. I'll say that for it, man.
sounds good to me. Yeah, you can get any of the leader games at this point, and you're going to get, and they're not. I mean, some of them aren't cheap, especially the newer ones. but you're going to get everything you want. I mean, you're going to be able to play so many campaigns, so many games over and over. You know, they're a blast in my opinion. Yes, just keep in mind it's not just, generally speaking, not just going to be on the battlefield part, as Judd said. It's going to be, you know, you're also going to be managing pilots, their stress, the back end kind of stuff. So, and then obviously there's even, you know, Sherman leader, Tiger leader. So there's tank ones, right? So it's not even aircraft at all. It's going to be, and then there's the two different types generally are going to be the aircraft focused, have very abstract tactical displays with like areas you just kind of generically go in towards the middle. Thunderbolt Apache leader, Tiger leader, Sherman leader. It's actual hexes, smaller battlefield still. It's not a big hex map, but it's smaller hexes you have to maneuver through. So
And DVG, I was giving their pub. They always make pretty nice components.
yeah, they're getting really good in there. So
I mean, I always thought Hornet leader had really great components. I had their edition of it, but yeah. Have you played I Napoleon?
So I haven't. I don't know if we talked about this. I think I ranted about it a little bit last week or 2 weeks ago with Tony last show. I'm not into Napoleon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Not yet.
I had never had much interest in the guy's life. You know, he's a battlefield genius. So his battles, they really got me when I started playing that. My friend Dan sent that to me. He's like, I didn't do much for me. He's like, sure, I'll try it. I had a blast with it. Makes me want to learn a little bit more. But it's a narrative generator. It's like B-17. You kind of flip the cards and do what's going on. First time I played, I got arrested and executed pretty early. And because I had a reroll dice or a reroll token I forgot about. Oh yeah, I put that on Twitter and somebody like, you should have used your reroll token. Next time I was like, I got quite a bit farther into it. But it's kind of fun. You know, want to make me learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a clever game, that's for sure.
It looks beautiful on the table. I saw some pictures. I'm like, that looks beautiful. But Landsworth Ridge, I talked about that. We talked about the David Thompson DVG. So that's Valiant Defense System. So that one I probably like a little bit more than Pavlov's House. The artwork's a little better too. The artwork though, Nils Johansson, I can't remember his last name. He is doing the artwork for the new one that's on pre-order, Guadalcanal from Vincent Cooper, and so that's one that I'm looking forward to checking out. So I do like that series of games. So ones I haven't played before, another enemy action, Cuba Libre. You talked about that a little bit. Western Front Ace. Okay, another. I think
Ambush is the next one I've played.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. So first kind of oldie, I think.
I think RAF was kind of oldish, but not like Ambush old. Ambush is like 83.
We'll finish up here the top 30-ish, and then we'll wrap up the video. So, yeah, I never played Ambush. Maquis, that's web published, is number 24 of greatest of all time. Okay.
Can we talk about Ambush for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll go back to Ambush, John Butterfield, Victory Games.
Another smooth rule book. Victory Games had the best rule books. Mark said there's Bob Ryer, I think was his name. If you look at that, there's that famous picture. It looked like the 1927 Yankees of game designers. It was the original Victory. And everybody's looked at, who's that guy? Yeah, he's the reason the rule books were so great. He was a smooth at that. But Ambush, you get your squad, and when you move into a hex, you had like this decoder card. You had to slide these cards in and then put the hex, and then it would tell you to go to a book and look up paragraph blah blah blah, and it might put a German on the. It was very. When you look at it, like, man, that had to take some work, and especially you're not doing stuff on computers. You're typing it all by hand, but the system very innovative in 1983. In this era, it feels dated. What it needs is a phone app. I mentioned this to Butterfield once. He goes, "Hey, you want to do it? Knock yourself out." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not going."
No,
you had to type that entire book out.
Yeah.
But if you could just type in the hex and it tells you what to do, that was cool. The only problem with it is this is the me problem, is I got a really good gift from memory. I played Ambush last like 13 years ago. You can set that scenario up. I will point to the board and tell you where the Germans are at. And Bart's like, how do you do that? Because he's like, I can play it a few years. I forgot. I was like, but that's just one of those things I can do that. So like, really, each scenario is to play once, and I'm kind of done with it. But the system is really cool. It just desperately needs an ambush. I mean, it certainly needs an upgrade, and Butterfield's not interested in it, and Eric Lee Smith's not interested in doing it. But that was a really cool game.
Look
Nick-
forward to an update then.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
I haven't played any others until you get to Thatcher's War.
Okay, so we'll look at so Stilico again. It's Maquis, and it's kind of weird that there's web published. I can't get over that. Web published, and it's number 24.
Really? Really?
Real
I thought
guy?
that was Hollenspiel.
Maquis?
Yeah, it is. Slide over to the right. It's Hollenspiel.
No, that's Stilico, Last of the Romans, which that's what.
Oh,
I'm talking
Maquis.
about.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Maquis. I'm like, I don't know how a web.
I never even
published
heard
game-
of it.
24.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. What the heck? So anyway,
Six
so
people rated it
Stilico,
really
Last
high.
of the Romans, Robert Dulesky, Hollenspiel. Really love this one. I've gone away from Hollenspiel just because they've gotten weirder and weirder, and their games are getting weirder, and they don't publish as many war games anymore. But this one, really loved. So same system as Wars of Marcus Aurelius.
I played that one.
Love that one. And then, but this came out and this like trounces it. I mean, it's just such a good game. It's States of Siege with these, but with the card system involved, it's almost hard to describe. But it's just like and Silico Last of the Romans, fun theme, fun topic. You don't see a lot of games on late Roman Empire, right? And especially Western Roman. At that point, you have start seeing games on like the Byzantine Empire, right? East Roman Empire. Silico, definitely recommend checking out if you like solitaire war games and you like Roman themed ones. I never played Raid and Saint Nazaire. So Mrs. Thatcher's War, obviously we talked about that one. Judd, go ahead.
Love that game. It's not State of Siege. Stupid, but it's not State of Siege. You think be a medicine? You think State of Siege? No, You know, one of my buddies, I forget his name, Mike. Yeah, Blockhead. Mike Hoyt. I think he's something. He has Where There's Discord, which that dude's like a Grail game, and it's been expensive. It's been a high price game ever since I've been following. It's been following it for years. It's one of those. Well, I bet that's a really cool game as much as they talk about it. But somebody asked me once if I'd played, and I said, no, that thing's too expensive. That's out of my price range. And Mike had said he had it and liked Thatcher's War better. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I love Thatcher's War. And it's just one of those cool things, Ben Madison he's been in the Falklands, wanted to make a game on it. And then he does a ton of research and made a really, really, really fun game. So,
not my favorite of his games, but I mean, he's done.
Yeah, same here, but I mean, you only have one favorite,
find one
right?
You like Ben Madison, White Dog Games, find one you like, and you're gonna find one you like. If you like solitaire war games, you're gonna find the topic you like.
Yeah, that's probably not even in my top 5 bin games, only because he makes so many great games. But but it's it's a cool topic you don't see a lot about. There's I know there's a lock and load game, a tactical game on it. But yeah, if you want to learn something about it and you don't have $100 and some bucks burning a hole in your pocket to get that other one, that's a great way to learn about it.
Next on the list, Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, 1942, Mike Overnella and Revolution Games. What can you say? One of the probably best-selling solitaire war games of the last couple years. I covered it extensively on my channel and really, really liked it. My only real complaint was the fact that the Soviets do not counterattack, which is historical. There were definitely times they counterattacked back areas within Stalingrad. You do not have that happen in the game. It's all just, you're moving into areas, flipping over the chits, and then resolving sort of a special event. But it's just fun and addictive.
Yeah.
Game system's fast and easy. Obviously, Mike Ornell has been doing those area impulse games forever. But the fact that it's a solitaire designed one, it just flows. I really like it. And I probably like Vanilla more as a game, but Stalingrad is a better theme, or at least certainly more popular, but it just feels more visceral on the table. So,
yeah,
what do you think?
I am exactly with you. I like it. I like Manila better. I don't know. I've always said maybe because it's American GIs, I'm much more interested in that. But, he makes my 2 favorite Stalingrad games. The other one's the Verdun on the Volga 2-player game, but that'll solo just fine. But yeah, this is a. Have you played the Islands of the? Do you have the Islands of the Damned by Against the Odds magazine?
Oh no! It's a little older now. No, I haven't played that one.
2 solitaire games. Yeah, 2 solitaire games in it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
and they're both designed by Stephen Cunliffe, who you might know from Hell on Stalingrad, and he made the Midway game, Fires of Midway.
Yep.
Anyways, he actually invented that system because one of the games in it's Wake Island is kind of a dice checking beer and pretzel game. It's a lot of fun though, and the other is a Peleliu game, and this is the one that introduced that system where you move in the area and flip the chit. But Ranella took it to the next level, and he put a lot of the area impulse stuff that he's the king, pretty much the king of.
Yeah.
And it was a great game, and man, I love what they did with the components. I mean, Revolution. I never mind. You know, some people are kind of snobbish about it, but I was like, man, for the price point Revolution put out, you know, their games are, you know, a great example. The Civil War series you love so much. The
Blind Sword.
Yeah, I was like, you know, it's not all super fancy mounted maps and thick boxes and all, but it's a ton of game, and the maps look good, the chits look
Everything's
good.
beautiful.
But this one, they took it to the whole next level with that one.
Actual amount of maps.
Yeah, and I love the thing I also liked on Manila was that when they put the little Stuka Joe thing in it that lets you calculate the odds.
Yep.
Because I've played those area impulse games forever, and I'd always hold a couple of D20s out and try to flip. Flipping D20s kind of gets annoying because it's not, you know, they're not all sequential where it's easy to flip around and go from 14 to 15. Instead, it's easy just to slide those markers around.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a fun game.
Yep. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I also liked the Japanese will counterattack in Manila.
Yeah, so that he did add that in. I don't, you know, Mike Ronella, God bless you, sir. I like a lot of your games, but Mike Ronnella's one of those guys where you say something online because he's a pretty active online.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe a little too much, because if someone will say something about one of his games, he'll respond to him, and he'll stand up for his game. He'll defend his games. And I think I remember him saying a couple of things. One of them was when we wanted a tracker, and I was doing the D20s. I had that on my video, and I said I wish we had a tracker. And then Stuka Joe came up with the thing. He was saying like, well, these games have never needed one ever, so they don't need one now. And then
they did.
Which
they did. I'm using them in every single game.
Absolutely. So thank you. I'm glad someone overruled him, or he just came to his senses. And then also talking about the counterattack in Stalingrad, he was like, "Oh, well, it's built into the game and this and that. It does do it. It just doesn't. It's abstracted." Well, then now in Manila, they actually do it on the map. So it's like, well, something happened along the way where maybe someone said, "Hey, you know, maybe we should do this if everyone's clamoring for it," and it makes the games better for it. So
I'll tell you also at Revolution, Roger Miller, he personally playtest every game minimum 25 times.
And they do an excellent job of producing, developing their games.
Yes, and dude's a top-notch developer. He probably saw that in 1 second and said, "Yeah, this is needed."
I think so. That's why I'm guessing that someone over Mike Ornella, Roger, or Richard and Roger, I think, are the two there, right?
Hamblin or something. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, so wrapping up here, we'll cover the last couple. Warfighter, World War II tactical card combat game.
I never played it. I've looked at it.
You ever played it, Judd?
Never played it.
Oh, I don't know if you'd like it, honestly, just thinking about it. I've really enjoyed my time with it. Warfighter Fantasy was a disaster, which I totally covered. I was totally honest with when I got my copy, but I've covered now a bunch of Warfighter games. Vietnam, Couture, I think was the last one I covered. I think Couture was the last one. And then, I'm trying to think. But yeah, I'm huge fan of the system in general. It can get a little overwhelming and fiddly, and too much takes up too much table space. So when I play, I like to pick I'll just cherry pick the missions that are smaller, so that way I don't have as much table creep, because I don't like playing Solitaire having to reach for all over the place.
Yeah.
So, haven't played Votes for Women. They sent me a copy and I got rid of it. Sorry, Fort Circle Games, not interested. And then finally, last couple here, and then we'll wrap it up. Empire of the Sun, the Pacific War, by some guy named Mark Herman.
I've heard that name somewhere. Heard that name. So
yeah, sounds familiar. Now, he's been on the list once or twice, which is weird. I should probably play one of his games.
Well, he doesn't do a lot of Solitaire. Peloponnesian War thinks his only dedicated Solitaire game, which I've played it. It's a good game, but it would have been on down the list if it had got to it. Empire of the Sun, that was the first one that made me raise my eyebrow and say, now I know their rules, so I'm cool with their rules. I just never think of that as a Solitaire game.
Yeah.
And when I think of Solitaire games, usually what I say is, obviously there's ones where you play an artificial intelligence, but when I
Yep.
think of them, I think if I made a perfect duplicate of myself and I played myself, and then in a parallel universe I played at Solitaire, would there be any difference? Because I'm not going to trick myself if there's no hidden information. Oh, I see
Yep.
what you're doing. You're trying to go that side because you got the odds advantage. Oh, you think you can outsmart me? I know how you think. So if you do that, it doesn't feel solitaire-ish as much. So that's where you end up with stuff like if you play a card game where there's cards, there will definitely be a difference because if I'm playing against myself, I have imperfect intelligence. I don't know exactly how you know. So I think of
Yep.
games with bluffing, hidden movement, auctioning. I can't solo them
Yep.
because there's too much. But a block game, I can do East Front because once you kind of know where the blocks after the first battle, you know where they're all at, and they got it. I can do card-driven games. Stuka Joe methods work fine. Some you come up with different methods, but in Empire of the Sun, it's using a bot, so you can play solitaire. You can play against the bot and things like that. I just always think of it as there's so much difference in the two-player and one-player experience because when you
Yeah.
kind of know what the other guy has, there is no thrill I have ever had in gaming as when I played Empire of the Sun and I had this killer card that he could not uh, roll against intelligence, and which is something you have to know the game.
Mm.
But I had sat around the very edges, way out of his range. Then on the last card I played, I jumped in there and hit him and sunk three carriers. It was the greatest thrill in any game I've ever played.
Awesome.
And then there's that card that's basically like the Battle of Midway intelligence card that lets you flip it and throw the ambush on them. If you know that card's in there, you lost a little something. Now the cool thing about the bot is that game has a tough. Sorry, I was looking at the notes. The game is kind of has a learning curve. I mean,
Yep.
just the rules. It's a different type of game. But when I started playing that game, I was playing by email. I would spend an hour looking at the board planning a move. I mean, it's like analysis paralysis in Vassal,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and I just try. What do I do? What do I do? Well, when you're in this, and that can be frustrating, especially when you're learning the game because you want to not screw it all up because you're going to be putting investment. If you don't know what to do, grab the bot. It's kind of like, hey, what would Mark Herman do? Well, let me see what he would do. And it's kind of a great way. Um, it's like when you're learning to ride a bike and they're holding the bike and then they let go and you don't know they
Yeah.
let go. Hey, just keep doing what Mark Herman would do. Then when you feel a little comfortable, try it on your own. And then if you don't know, go back to what. So it's great to get you over that learning curve. And you can let the bot slug it out. It's just so much more of a two-player experience. When I saw that, I go, well, I never really thought of that as a solitaire game, but their rules are anything you like to play solitaire. So
Yeah.
it's fair.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, but don't read any of this as anything other than positive. I mean, that is one of my top four games in history. I mean,
Wonderful.
everybody knows what my number one is. So two, three, and four all kind of shuffle around based
Yeah.
on what day of the week it is. But
Yeah.
I just adore that game.
And then finally, just to wrap it up here, and this is arbitrary because we ran out of time. Target for today: Steve Dixon and Legion War Games. So target for today is a narrative-driven war game. It is, you're have a bomber, and it's the original B-17 Flying Fortress, updated for today's sort of standards. Narrative-driven, so you make some choices, but the game system and dice rolling. Talked about dice rolling earlier a lot with luck. Does a lot of the load on this one. You're not having a ton of massive decisions, a lot of smaller ones. But you know what? It is a really enjoyable game. I did a bunch of videos on this one in my review, and some of them are more popular, thousands and thousands of views. But I will say, the game as is, when you try to play a campaign, the missions are too long, in my opinion. They're way too long, and so you spend 3 hours flying a single, especially if it's a longer mission, deeper, say targeting somewhere in Germany. You're playing for 3 hours on one single mission. I don't have, campaign is what, 25 missions? I don't have 75 plus hours to play through a campaign of a single game. So there are, though, a bunch of rules on Board Game Geek that can really decrease the playtime of each specific mission. I think if you can get them below, like closer to 45, it would be ideal. I don't know if you can quite get it there, but you can get it at least closer to an hour by not having some of the way you have in rules as written. There's German bandits, German fighters. Oh, fuck, Wolf 109, they're coming in. You're rolling to get them all, and next thing you know, they're like They take a pass and they're gone. Take a pass and they're gone. Take a pass and they're gone. And it's like, okay, so nothing just happened really. Like I just spent 20 minutes setting up for a combat and an encounter that nothing happened on. So rules is written a little, not quite there. Go on Board Game Geek, lots of player aids, some optional rules. I would implement them, and then you're really, I think, going to enjoy the experience. If you like that kind of game.
Is that the game that's like the updated B-17?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, because I knew there was like Wing and a Prayer, and I never can tell them apart. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Target for Today is the one that's way more popular. Wing and a Prayer came out, I think, around the same time, but not nearly as popular as this one.
Yeah.
So Target for Today. Then they have Target for Tonight. That's the British bombing campaign, and all respect, but I'm an American, so I want to play the American one. So
I got B-17, so I just never felt a need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Can we do one more on this list? Because there's 3 games left, and 2 of them I think are Fields of Fire we've covered, and I think
Absolutely. Yeah. None of my reviews.
The Mission.
Are gameplay. A couple more.
Then we can say, hey, at least we covered the first page.
Which one are you looking for?
The Mission, number 33.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, it's war game adjacent. I like to say that phrase. It's like a game like Blackbeard, or somebody called it honorary war game. It's historical. It's Avalon Hill. All that, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of war game adjacent. It has a State of Siege vibe to it, but it's not. But I think that's interesting that the 2 Ben Madison games that placed the highest was those 2. And I hear the Mission, I own and love it. But yeah, if you'd ask my favorite Ben Madison games, mine's the one, because I owe it to you, Wayne. The first Jihad and Global War. She had made those 2 videos on how to do the Pearl Harbor and the Barbarossa. I think there'd be a lot of people lost. So
yeah.
You deserve a medal. You deserve another Charlie for that. But no, the Mission.
I'll take my one, and I'm good.
The Mission is so friggin' cool. I mean, it's building the early church, and you spread out, then you watch it all start coming from the inside, then they attack from the middle, so you get attacked from both sides, and it's like a donut, and that's the weirdest game, and that it takes me like 4 hours to play it, 3 hours, something like that, and that's another one of those games I talked about using that guy Christian's player age. Definitely use it.
Yeah,
but
he has a lot of good ones.
Yeah, that is a game that as the story's unfolding, I just love to watch it. And when we get into the game, I don't even care about the score. I'm not sitting there tallying. The only complaint about the game is people said, the score's too easy. And I said, well, house rule it. If it's 100 points to win, make it 150 to win. Make it harder on yourself. You can fix that part easy. But
Yep.
It is, when I got all done, I was like, well, I'll add up my score, but I don't really care because I had just a fun time playing through the game. So
Mission's a fun one. Again, Ben Madison, he just really good work. He's a lot of good games.
And he does
all these crazy topics too.
And he does such deep research on his stuff too.
Yep.
Some people get a little turned off because he has a funny wit about him. Yet, if you know the guy, he has a funny wit about his commentary and stuff. And some people just get all burned. I was like, he's just trying to be funny. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. Don't get too serious. But by the way, if you ever have questions about his game since he got banned on BGG, I did create a Facebook group called the Games of Ben Madison. So he's on there. He's extremely active. You want to talk about your favorite games or ask him questions.
Is that your group?
I started it. I just wrote him and said, hey, you cool with this? Because I think people need to be able to do that. And Wes Ernie did a lot of stuff with him. Wes is always active on BGG and answering everything. But so Ben, I started that up for him.
Very cool. Very cool.
He's a cool guy. But man, that whole thing was just a bummer deal. But
that's why I try to say is lowest level of controversy on Board Game Geek, because I like to use Board Game Geek. It's a great tool. There's lots of good information on there. I post my videos there, but I look up stuff on games, download files, player aids, like updates. I don't want to get banned from there, so I just hold my tongue sometimes. But it's part of life too. Sometimes.
It's like at the end of the day, dude, you're talking about board games.
Yeah,
seriously, you're gonna get that bent out of shape about a board game?
Banning people for why? Just because you don't agree with their opinion? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we looked at the top 33, 34 or so of Armchair Dragoons and Beyond Solitaire's Wargaming and Historical Gaming Survey 2025 edition. So some on there, a bunch on there I have never played. Some I played and I love, and a couple I played and I'm like, why is this on this list? But then again, everyone's different. So just because I like it or don't like it doesn't mean a bunch of other people won't like it or dislike it. It makes sense. So Rob, thank you for this. Hey, thank you, Rob. Thank you everyone for who showed up. Really appreciate it. Just getting rolling here. You know, we're gonna wrap up this video, but we're having. I think I don't want to speak for Judd, but I'm having a blast doing the show here and
Yeah.
covering different games. And we're gonna. You guys, any topic ideas you ever want, post in the comments or email or message me or Judd on Board Game Geek, wherever. Let us know something you guys would want us to talk about. We're always looking for different topics. We don't want to just do like top 5 this, top 5 that. Like we want to cover different types of topics, and so I wanted to look at this list today. We didn't get to deep dive, but we definitely covered a bunch of different games and talked about a bunch of different things. So. Really listening to your opinions about the different games. Yeah, I mean, it's fun to kind of hear different viewpoints too. I mean, Judd said a couple things today. I'm like, yeah, okay, I hadn't considered that. And so, you know, there's maybe 1 or 2 games on that list that I hadn't played that maybe now I'll check out because of what Judd said. But Judd, any final thoughts or anything?
The list was interesting, and there wasn't a great amount
Yeah.
of people voting to get the spread.
No.
I would have liked to
190
see
people?
Yeah,
You
I thought, I thought there probably should have been some Kershaw games in there.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting topic, just stuff like that. Favorite Kershaw game, that'd be a good
We
topic.
could cover some games and deep dive and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and I don't know, there's just a few on there. Plus, I wish they'd done stuff like combine the Fields of Fire into one entry, maybe not put expansions on
That was a little
there.
weird that he didn't.
But hey, it's their rules, their game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would have been it didn't seem to me like a great spread of a great representation, because like I went down and was like, well, what happens after you get to 100? Then you start getting where it's like 1 or 2 votes.
Yeah.
So there's some on there that I thought, wow, I thought that would have been on there, or so just kind of surprised.
So next year, everybody, make sure you vote, so that way we get some other games on there and other viewpoints, and it's not just the 190 people that maybe we're voting every year, the same people. So
Yeah.
'cause I've been doing the list for a few years. The survey, I voted previously a couple years. I did not vote this year, so shame on me. I know, shame on me. But maybe next year we'll get some votes in. But then we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Judd had a great time.
Yeah.
And until next time, everybody. 2 weeks, Saturday, 2 weeks from now. Every other Saturday is what we do. We'll see you then. So